Hello, MHA students, and welcome to week 5 of Leadership Essentials for Healthcare Professionals. I am Professor Jonathan Winston. I am a graduate of Jackson State University with my bachelor's and master's in social work. I am the owner and operator of Connecting the Dots Therapy in Pearl, Mississippi. This week, there is no other topic that could be more relevant than crisis and change in healthcare. Yes, as healthcare leaders, you will often face moments when uncertainty, pressure, and urgency collide. Whether it's a natural disaster, a public health emergency like a pandemic, or an unexpected organizational upheaval, your ability to lead effectively through crisis will directly impact outcomes for both staff and patients. To ground our discussion, we'll be drawing on a more practical and insightful framework from Galati, Noria, and Wilgakason in their 2010 Harvard Business Review article, Leading Through Crisis. Their work provides valuable guidance for how leaders can not only survive disruptive moments, but lead them with purpose and even spark transformation. Exciting, huh? Well, the learning objectives. By the end of today's session, you'll be able to describe leadership behaviors during a crisis, what that looks like effectively. You'll also be able to apply a dual mindset, urgency response, and long-term strategies. You'll also be able to reflect on your own leadership strengths and challenges during times of crisis and or major change. Students, let's go deeper into this week's lesson. Let's start with a core idea from Galati and colleagues. Effective crisis leaders always are open to change. There is a cause for change. Effective leaders are always open to consider and embrace change. Galati and its colleagues suggest that effective crisis leaders are able to hold two opposing mindsets at once. They must act urgently, but not recklessly. They must be able to respond to the moment while also seeing beyond it. The first principle is to act with urgency, but do not panic. In healthcare, delays can cost lives, but so can rash decisions. Strong leaders are able to pause for the cause, just long enough to assess the situation, gather pertinent information, and align their teams before taking decisive action. Yes, this short pause helps to reduce anxiety and prevent errors caused by chaos. Secondly, there must be a change in perspective. In the English dictionary, crisis is looked at a catastrophic event, a tragic moment in life. However, if we consider the Chinese or the Japanese dictionary, both sees crisis as an opportunity. Yes, great leaders are able to stand back and look at a crisis and see it as an opportunity for change. Not so much change for worse, but change for the better. As a leader, we must be able to balance short-term responses with long-term transformation. It's easy in a crisis to go in a fight or flight mode and focus only on the immediate emergency. But the best practice as leaders, ask the question, what does this moment teach us? What can change permanently in this situation? For instance, during COVID-19, if you can recall, many healthcare systems rapidly adopted telehealth, initially as a necessity, but ultimately a long-term strategic shift in practice. Yes, we must be open to change our perspective. Thirdly, we must be open as leaders to change our way of communicating. Best practice suggests that we communicate clearly and with empathy. In times of uncertainty, as a leader, silence is dangerous. Silence can destroy a team. Staff want to hear from their leaders, even if the message is, we don't have all the answers yet, but here's what we do know. Transparent communication builds psychological safety. Let me say that again. Transparent communication builds psychological safety. And when it's paired with empathy, it acknowledges fear, fatigue, and loss among the team. And it also strengthens trust. As leaders, we must learn to communicate clearly and with empathy. Galati and its colleagues suggest that that is the best practice for effective leadership in crisis and change. So today's lesson in summary, let's circle back for just a moment. We've learned that leading in crisis isn't just about managing problems. It's about modeling composure, creating clarity, and seeing opportunity in the midst of disruption. Galati and his colleagues remind us that a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. I love that. When handled thoughtfully, crisis can be a turning point that reshapes systems, strengthens culture, and reveals the true character of leadership. So I encourage each of you students, reflect on, when have I seen this kind of leadership? Do I exude these type of qualities as a leader? And how might I respond to a crisis differently the next time? Absolutely.